Hello everyone, happy Sunday. Great to be here with you. I hope you had a great past week and are ready for pretty much the end of November. So how has everyone's week been? We have our mice here as usual. They've had a smelly week, shall we say? There you go. They're going to sit over there. Hopefully you all are doing very good today. Have my tea, although I'm not super cold right now, so maybe I shouldn't have prepared it. Best when you're super cold. That's when it's the absolute best. Okay. And today we're going to be talking about betrayal. What to do when someone betrays you. Yes, that's what we're going to be discussing today. Okay. I just made the tea. I can't even try to attempt to drink it at all. I'm not even going to bother. Okay. So with that, there we go. Okay. There we go. That actually looks very funny behind me, doesn't it? It really does. This man blocking out his ears because he doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to hear anything going on, because perhaps he is in denial about certain things, certain people, certain incidents that have happened. Perhaps he feels a sense of betrayal, but he just doesn't want to really bother with it. You know, he just like, no. And by no, we mean in a state of denial himself. The thing is, when you're dealing with other people and they were not who you thought that they were, you do feel that sense of betrayal, right? You feel a sense of betrayal as if they weren't who you thought that they were. You build up an image within your mind and they turn out to be someone else that you didn't expect. And perhaps, just like this man behind me here, who's kind of covering my, I can just line it up here. That's like the best I can do there. But perhaps just like him, just blocking out any sort of conflicting thoughts or ideas regarding the situation that you're in with someone else who is not who you thought that they were. The thing is, whenever we are meeting someone, when we start interacting with someone, especially someone that we do not know, we create an idea of who we think that they are based on very limited information that they have given us. And the information that they have given us could be completely fabricated. It could be a lie. It could be exaggerated to the point where it would seem like it's a lie, but it's just kind of like a very distortion of the truth. Whatever the case is, we start building up an idea or an image of this person, how we think that they are, within our mind. We form this image. I don't know. Okay. Let's turn that off. I did not even have a thumbs up, but apparently, there you go. There you go. When you form that image in your mind, you do get that thumbs up within your mind, because you're forming the image within your mind. You think that they're someone else and that they're much better than who they actually are. This image that we form within our mind about someone else, it's often very inaccurate. It's often based on very limited information that perhaps is not even true, and is often not the truth of the matter. But much like this man behind me here, there could be that sense of denial. It's like you don't want to believe the truth of someone else. Instead, you want to believe what you have created within your mind. The expectations that we have of other people as well are also very unrealistic. Not only is the mental image of how we think someone is, how we think, perhaps even if we've not met them before, like how we think that they may look, or how we think that they may behave, in addition to how we think that their life is, but also the expectations we have upon them are also very unrealistic. So these expectations that we have built up, these can be that we want someone to be a certain way. As we have created this type of image of this person within our mind, we want them to behave a certain way, to react a certain way. And this can even be within your own family and your friends as well. It doesn't just have to be with someone new. It could be with family and friends as well. And that's a major problem because that will cause conflict within the relationship. Because you're having an expectation of someone close to you, and they're not living up to that expectation, so what do? You could get into arguments and disagreements. You could end up holding it all back, holding it all in, causing you a bunch of frustration and problems, and then it ends up coming out to some degree eventually. Or it can even lead to you feeling this sense of disappointment when these expectations are broken. Because ultimately, you're creating all these ideas of this person within your mind that's not even accurate. And then the harsh reality begins to set in that they're not who you thought that they were. So you feel disappointed. Now, this can be in many different ways that you feel this sense of disappointment. You could feel a sense of perhaps a betrayal from the other person. That perhaps you feel as though they have lied to you, they have manipulated you, they have done things to you that were very, very wrong, even if that wasn't ever their intention or even what they really did. But you feel that sense of betrayal and disappointment as a result of them. Or you could also internalize it as well. And that sort of internalization can be directed at yourself, where you feel as though, like, why would I ever believe this person would be like this? It's like, how can I be so foolish, so dumb to think that? This can be the types of thoughts going through your mind when it comes to this person and these sort of ideas that stem from these expectations you have put upon them. And directing it at yourself is never a good thing. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But the thing is, you have created that sort of image within your mind. You're the one who has had the expectations. So you're the one who needs to change those if you want to be able to have a more healthy relationship with this other person and with yourself. And in addition, not get so frustrated with yourself or so upset. Because eventually it could lead to you being very angry. Anger will come out and it is often projected at the person or yourself. And when you project it to them, they may have not done anything wrong, as we have said. That they were not even aware that they were saying anything or doing anything wrong. They were just being themselves. But you have had that expectation, that unrealistic one, that has put them into a position that is way up here, when in reality, they're down here. So you have given them this massive idea within your mind. You've put them on a pedestal within your mind, only to have that broken down when you start learning more, or when you meet them, or whatever the case may be. Or when they don't follow through with some of the things that you have expected them to do. And that's a major problem in many different areas, because ultimately it all goes back to you. It all goes back to you. You directing this sort of anger and hatred towards the other person, but also at you once you come to the realization that, like, why did I ever believe that this person could have been this way? Or you can be like this man behind me here. Here's where we get to the denial part of this. You can be in denial and pretend everything is fine when it really isn't. And perhaps you hope for things to get better, or perhaps hope that however the person acted that wasn't in alignment with the mental image you have created for them, that it was just a fluke that one time and they will go back to being this way that you thought of them as. So these are all major problems that cause issues, because when you're in denial about this, that is the really scary thing, because you have this idea, this image in your mind of how this person is. You've been given very clear signs that that's not how they are. That's not who the person is. And then it upsets you. It makes you angry. It makes you frustrated. You may take out anger on them or on yourself. And then you eventually come back to your senses, and then you have a sense of denial, where you are then putting your fingers in your ears, basically just blocking out any sort of information and being like, no, that was just a fluke that they acted like that. No, they're actually who I thought that they were. So that's some really negative and bad territory to be in. So it's time to really stop putting those expectations. Stop expecting things from other people if you want to move past this and be able to just accept that everyone is different and that you can't expect anyone to be a certain way. Okay, I would like to say hello to Nightclub and PPP Loan. Great to have you here. How are you doing today? PPP Loan. PPP Loan. Yeah, let me remove this man. We're not going to be in denial anymore. There we go. We're going back to reality now. How are you both doing today? Let's say. You doing well, PPP Loan? Okay, wonderful. I don't know what your name is, because yeah, YouTube just shows the usernames now. It's lovely, isn't it? It's lovely. Unless that's actually, your name as well, but yeah. Because some people's usernames match up with their their actual YouTube name, but yeah. Yes, I hope court goes well for you tomorrow. I hope that they do. You should bring us along. We will help you out at court by sneaking on into the judge's table and then having him bang the gavel on our feet. And then it causes us so much pain, and then we sue him, and then he goes into jail for the rest of his life. That's right. You heard him. It's called rat discrimination by pounding your feet. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Can someone who is good at manipulating people lead someone you care about to betray you? That's an interesting question. Yeah, let's go ahead and think about that. Okay. Someone who is good at manipulating other people can lead others to betray you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because here's the thing. People who are very good at manipulating, they will often lie or alter the truth in a way to make them look favorable and the other person not so much. So what tactics they will often do is, if there's a scenario, if there's a situation that someone's a bit, perhaps even swayed towards one side, the manipulative person will come in and basically say, it's like, no, just think about this. And they will use very manipulative tactics to get them to believe something very different. Perhaps even completely unrelated things to the topic. So, if the topic, it would be completely off topic, usually maybe something from the past, like, oh, just think about how this person reacted or behaved in these scenarios. And then it starts getting the person to be thinking, saying, maybe I shouldn't believe everything, this other person has to say. Then the manipulation type of tactics come in. And then it can be a very successful type of manipulation there. So, yes, it's not a good situation to be in. It really isn't. There you go. You sit right there. That's funny. That's funny. So yeah, I guess that is a good way to get into our next topic here, which is going to be about. There we go. I should move myself for this one because we want to see the sign. We want to see it here. I can't really. I'll just go like this, and I'll just kind of block it all out. There we go. What does it say? What does it say? What does it say? What does it say? Reality and expectations. How to have proper reality expectations put into place here so that you're not expecting too much and that you're in a proper alignment when it comes to you stopping expecting things from other people and you being in a state of reality. So a lot of us perhaps have expectations upon other people. We expect them to be a certain way, expect them to behave a certain way. These can be family, that you expect, your brothers, your sisters, your daughter, son, parents, whomever else, to behave a certain way, and they never do. Then you feel upset about that. You're expecting too much from them. Or friends. Perhaps you have a really fun and exciting thing to share with them. Something that makes you feel thrilled and very, very happy. And in your mind, you have thought, they're going to react in a very positive way. They're going to have all this excitement and be very happy for me. And then when you tell them, it doesn't really pan out that way. You end up feeling like, oh, they didn't really care, or they're not really happy for me. That's what it seems like. That's where the betrayal sets in. That's where you feel really bad, because you had an expectation of how they were going to behave, how they were going to react. And when they didn't react that way, you did feel betrayed. You felt very, very bad as a result. It's not a good feeling. It really isn't. So how can then you can put reality and you can have expectations, two completely different things here. How can you finally get those into check here? Well, I guess really the first thing, you do need to become aware of what you are expecting, when you're expecting, especially when you're expecting too much from other people. You will often go through the phases of disappointment, frustration, anger. If you're feeling those things when it comes to someone else, when you've interacted with them, when you find out something about them, when you tell them something, whatever the case is, if you feel disappointment, frustration, anger, feel all these feelings and you just get all worked up, that's how you know that you're expecting something from someone else and they're not fulfilling that expectation that you have. So then what happens? You internalize it, you can project it, but then you realize, I had too high expectations of this person. Now, of course, we're always going to have some level of expectations. But that's, if it's to a much higher degree, you're expecting too much. You should not expect really much of anything. But at least, the bare minimum. The bare minimum is probably the most you should be expecting from someone else. The fact is, a lot of us expect something more. We expect something more to happen, some sort of situation that makes us feel as though they are living up to the image that we've created within our mind. So that's really step one, becoming aware that you have these expectations on someone else. The next thing you want to be able to do is you want to realize where these expectations are coming from. Why are you expecting this person to think a certain way, behave a certain way, to interact with you a certain way? Why are you expecting that? And where are those feelings coming from? Sometimes it can be from other past issues that you have that have not been resolved yet. They could be from things that you are lacking within your life. So, for example, if you're expecting, your significant other to surprise you and, do things for you without you asking, but they've never really done it in the past, that's not really who they are as a person. And that feeling of you expecting it from them perhaps comes from your self-doubt that they care about you or that they love you, or your own insecurities with yourself, that you don't feel as though you're good enough, so you want them to make you feel better. Whatever the case is, these are expectations you have put upon them that perhaps they have never shown before. And you want them to be that way, and when they don't surprise you, when they don't do random acts of kindness for you that you would like, instead of actually communicating, that's when you feel disappointment, frustration, anger. You project it to them. So once you then realize that you have these expectations and you start to think about where they're coming from. In this particular case, this person has these expectations because they feel insecure with themselves. They have some sort of insecurity that they don't feel good enough for their partner, or that perhaps they have some sort of doubt with their partner when it comes to they feel as though they don't love them enough because they're not showing it, and they don't communicate. They're not able to communicate. So that is the foundation of really starting to get this into motion, as to figuring out what is reality and what are the expectations. Because then you can start to catch yourself when you begin to form this mental image, or you have these thoughts within your mind of something that just is not true, or something that's not going to happen, some sort of expectation. Then you can begin to question. It's like, I'm thinking about this particular person behaving a certain way. Is that an expectation? Or is that reality? Is that actually going to happen, actually how they are? Or is that how I want them to be? Because I have built up an image within my mind. I have expectations of them that I have created. And I want them to be a certain way. That's then when you can start catching yourself in the middle of these thoughts. And then really figure out where they're coming from, and then stopping it before it gets too far. Because when you catch yourself, that is when you can begin to rationalize these ideas going through your mind. These things that have started to come up, these ideas that your partner, because you feel insecure with your partner or whatever the situation is, you feel insecure, so then you begin to think, I start thinking about this. I start asking these questions. Does he really not love me? Or does she really not love me? You can't really necessarily. It could be male or a female, but I'd say more so it's probably a females who may go through a lot of these sort of emotions. But, you know, males can as well, absolutely. But the thing is, when you start to have these sort of negative ideas, the self-doubt, that's when you stop, that's when you question, that's when you start to realize, it's like, perhaps my expectations are a bit too high here. Perhaps I've been thinking too much about this situation. I'm expecting too much. Not only that, everyone is different. The way that someone shows some level of, affection to someone else, male and female, very, very different. So if you're expecting something to be exactly as you want the other person to be, then you have to put the brakes on and figure out everything within your life and where's that coming from. You want to wait before you jump to the conclusions that you're jumping to. When you jump to these conclusions, that is when all the mental thought starts coming in. You start thinking all these negative things about the other person. You start thinking, oh, they're not who I thought that they were. They betrayed me. They've lied to me. All this other stuff. And you don't want that. You want to put the pause on and just wait before you continue down this negative thing. It's really all about awareness most of the time. It really is. And with the situation when it comes to not feeling good enough in the relationship, this person expecting something from their partner that they're not feeling satisfied with how they're interacting with their partner, or that they feel insecure with themselves, that is the perfect time for communication. To talk about the problem and say, I feel insecure. Instead of, you don't want to have the conversation where you're blaming the other person, obviously. Because you can say, I feel as though you don't love me. Like that is the type of projection and, kind of playing the victim in that case and trying to manipulate the other person. You don't want that. You want to rationalize it by basically saying, it's like, I feel insecure for these particular reasons, just so that they understand. Because they may not understand. They may not have a clue. So it's up to you to be able to have that proper communication. If you're not able to have that proper communication with them, then it will just keep building within you until it eventually comes out in a much more negative way that could end the relationship, or whatever other. You can apply this to any situation, but I think this was probably an easy situation to really apply it, because I feel as though that's something a lot of people deal with, having these expectations of a partner that aren't always true or accurate or real. So when you do those things, you'll be in a much better place to not have those expectations of someone else. Okay, DC, great to have you here. How are you doing? Let's see. Let's see. I expected my dad to not throw me out of the house. Well. But, yeah, if that happened, yeah, it's a really sad thing. It really is. It really is. Let's say, I am late. My notice vacation didn't remind me you were live. Well, I hope you're enjoying your vacation. Where are you vacationing to? Hopefully it is very nice. Hopefully there's plenty of rats at the vacation. Yes. There may be plenty of rats at the vacation. Your boyfriend is a joke. Well, that is very, very sad to hear. Doesn't sound like a boyfriend then, if you think he's a joke. Yeah, if you think he's a joke, then it sounds like and you don't like him, he's not good. Time to break up. I don't know why you would want to be in that situation. Don't know why. Okay. Now let us get myself into position here for the thought bubble. See, now I'm thinking about the times that I have caught myself when it comes to expecting too much from someone else. This is something that I have dealt with for a very, very long time, having these high expectations. This is why I have gone through the process. I have learned how to not have these expectations because I've been through it myself. I've been through all the stages of having expectations, realizing it and being like, why did I ever have those expectations of someone else? Why did I believe those things? It's also been projected as well. Projection of some of this frustration and anger of someone not doing what I thought that they would do. But in addition, also internalization, like why would I expect that of someone else? Like, or I feel silly. I feel dumb for expecting those things on someone else. So I would like to share some of my experience when it comes to that, because yes, I have expected too much from other people, and I have become aware of that. I expected people, expected everyone around me really, to be a certain way, and then was disappointed when they were not that way. I had these expectations that were too high. I expected too much from them. I expected them to think a certain way, to behave a certain way. That sounds like I was very manipulative, but I never tried to change. Well, I mean, if I rewind many, many years ago, I think to some degree I have tried to change people in some sort of way by showing them information. It's like, why can't you see this? You know, it's like, why can't you see it the way that I do? You know? I was completely oblivious to all of this until just earlier this year. That I was just, you know, I mean, I've probably made some changes over the years. Absolutely. But it was just this year that I had this major realization that was like, I've had these expectations of other people for too long. Wow. Yeah, this situation that happened basically just pushed me to this point where I was able to, why do I have these expectations? Why am I expecting that? Why am I, it's like this situation is just playing out in a more negative type of scenario. So yes, I've always tried to, before I would try to make people see my side of things. And when they didn't see my side, you know, I try to get them like, here's the information. And I've come to the realization, it's like, you know, this particular realization's happened over several years. It wasn't the big revelation this year, but it's like, you know what? I can't get them to see my side. It's not possible. It's not possible to get someone else to see things exactly as I see them. It's not possible. Yet I was trying to make it possible. This effort, this type of control, this type of manipulation even, it just was frustrating for me because, of course, no one's really going to see it that way, is it? No. They're going to see it their own way. And surely maybe they can see some things, but they're never going to see it exactly the way that you do. So this is when I realized, gosh, I've been doing this my entire life, really. And where did it come? Where did it stem from? Where did these thoughts of having someone else believe the way that I do, or see things the way that I see them? A lot of it, I've realized, it does come down to some sort of, emptiness or feelings of isolation or loneliness that perhaps I have that made me want other people to see things the way that I see them. And why is that? Because, well, when you feel as though you see things this particular way, and there really is no one else who views them in that way, then of course you feel as though, well, no one really understands. No one really gets it. So you want other people to realize, I understand now. I see it the way that you see it now. So that's kind of what I was wanting, basically. I wanted other people to see it the way that I did, so I didn't feel this sense of like feeling alone with these thoughts that I had regarding certain situations. So after all these realizations that I had over the years, and especially just this year, this massive one that made me realize, I can't have these expectations. It's like I was questioning, why am I having these expectations? Why am I expecting people to behave a certain way? And then I was like really thinking about this, and it's like, I keep building up this mental image in my mind. Like this is my imagination right now. But, of course there would be stuff in it. It's like, okay, here's this person. Here's how they are, here's how they look or act and behave, how they think, their sort of goals in life and all this sort of stuff. When that wasn't reality. That was my version of them, their type of reality, but that wasn't actually them. And then I realized, I'm creating unnecessary stress and frustration for myself. I'm causing the problems here because I'm creating this mental image that is not accurate. It's not true. It's not real. And then when reality sets in, it causes this conflict. It's like, but wait a second. I thought you were this person. It's like, no, this is what I created within my mind. That's not real. It's my imagination. And then I was just like, wow. It's like, why did I do it? Why did I do it? And then that's when I went through all the steps and I realized, wow, okay. So now, what do I do now? Well, here's like the drastically different approach now that has been much more effective when dealing with pretty much anyone, is now I approach in a very unbiased way. And I don't jump to conclusions. So literally, this is my imagination now. It's kind of empty when it comes to having an expectation or viewing someone a certain way. Because I catch myself. It's like I'm building up this image of all this sort of stuff. Like, no. Back off for a moment. Put a pause on here and realize I'm creating something in my imagination that's not accurate. I don't have all the information. I don't have all the facts here. I'm not going to jump to conclusions and think that I know the answer when I don't. I don't know the answer, so I'm not going to try to create one with limited information, because that's what our mind likes to do. It doesn't like the unknown. It's scared of the unknown. So our imagination will create an answer for us that's usually in our liking so that we, block out any of the negative things. But it's not real. And I realize that. So now when I interact with other people, I don't have those expectations. And I catch myself if I start to form any of them. And it's been very, very helpful for me because I realize, wow, I've been doing that for so long. And now I can change my ways and not view someone else in a more negative light because I created something in my mind and they weren't that. It's like, it has nothing to do with them. They are who that they are. So I backed off. I am unbiased and I don't jump to conclusions. So that has been the most beneficial thing for me, going through this journey of these expectations and releasing those expectations that I have had upon other people. I would like to say hello to Loxky and Alioth. How are you doing today? Hopefully you are doing wonderful. I am done thinking now. I am done thinking. I'm going back to my room. Actually, wait. You know what I'm thinking about? This is what I'm thinking about. That's right. What you drinking? She's drinking my feet sweat. See, I just like wring it out right here and it just drips down and ooh, that smells good. Feet sweat. Anyway, it's just tea. It's just tea. I'm thinking about the tea. Anyway, let's move myself back to center. Spike tea. No. We don't do that here. We don't do that here. No. I think you mean yes, because it's spiked with my feet sweat. That's right. Yes, that is true. It is spiked with his feet sweat. That's right. My feet sweat is not as stinky as his, so we use his for the tea. That's right. Anyway. Is everyone ready for Thanksgiving ahead? If you celebrate Thanksgiving? Some people don't, and if you're in a different country, then you don't, but yes. Almost done the tea. The feet sweat tea. Ugh. I didn't even want to think about that. It's just like, ugh. Disgusting. As they just sit here and just watch. They just sit here and just look. Doesn't have too much flavor, actually. Very minor. All right, last sip, I think. Okay. Well, folks, I'm going to be heading off here now. I want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving, and I shall see you all again on December 7th. Okay, so finally entering the last month of the year. So yes, I will see you all then. So you all take care. Have a good one. Bye, boys and ladies. Bye. That's right. So take care. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and I shall see you later. Have a great rest of your November. Bye-bye.